with Swords. Obviously, it could be number one. It's my number 5 because, honestly, I loved it when I heard it, but I didn't appreciate it until a couple years after it came out.
Do you want more?
But no, it's Liquid Swords.
Ooh.
Liquid Swords.
Ooh.
It's my 5 spot. It's not my favorite Wu album. But 1995. It could be number 1. It's my number 5. I don't know. We've already talked about it enough, but it's my number 5.
Okay. Technically, I did 4, so I opened up 5 to y'all. Okay. So this is on the fly. This is no rehearsal. My 5th album has got to be The Far Side. I couldn't show them any love in the earlier rounds because I just had too much other stuff to get off my chest. But Far Side's Lab Cabin album.
California.
Yeah, Lab Cabin, California. Which, I mean, I had it when it came out, but it was like, I don't know, man. It's like, it gets better with time. Like, seeing them live, I think, did it for me. I saw them in Rock the Bells in 2007. And it was just like, oh, I fell in love again. Like, oh, these dudes are incredible. First album is classic. That's like vintage stuff.
Bizarre Ride.
Bizarre Ride to the Far Side, vintage stuff.
Do you think you like it more, though, because they had an East Coast influence?
You know, I like them the same for different reasons.
Yeah.
I can't pick one that's better.
I'm not going to give away, because this is on my list also, so I'm not going to talk about it just yet.
And the West Coast, y'all. What's up, West some love with the Far Side.
So this was the hardest one. This was the hardest list for me to make because I had 6 albums that were right on the cusp, and I really it is very hard for me to narrow down to 5. But I went with Do You Want More as number 5. I said it earlier on the podcast here. If you put a gun to my head and said you pick one Roots album that you have to listen to for the rest of your life, it would probably be Do You Want More. And that's hard because Philadelphia Half-Life, Organics, Things Fall Apart are all right there. I mean, their first 4 albums to me are their best, even though I think How I Got Over was really dope.
That was underrated.
Yeah.
Phrenology was good too, man.
Phrenology was good too, but
like
I still think their first 4 albums are their 4 best. And
Things Fall Apart, you didn't like that one?
Things Fall Apart, if, like I said, gun to my head, it would be between those 2.
That's
Things
my
Fall
favorite
Apart
album.
and Do You Want More.
Yeah.
And I see you rocking the Things Fall Apart t-shirt right now.
Yes, sir. Had to do it. Had to change clothes.
But Do You Want More just had like that laid-back jazz feel to it where they were like, they hadn't blown up yet. They were not on motherfucking Jimmy Fallon. They were not superstars at all. No, I don't hate that they're on Jimmy Fallon. Actually, I'm proud of them for that. I think that's great that they took advantage of their superstardom and like they got a regular night gig where they don't have to tour all the time and can have a very, very nice income with staying in New York City.
But I don't think Black Thought should be on it. I mean, I'm all for the band being on it.
Man. He's
but
like
Black Thought
useless.
is so useless. Yeah, it's kind of like.
And he calls him
why you up
Tariq.
there?
He doesn't call him Black Thought. I think that's some other stuff too. I don't think he can say Black. I think Black Thought is too hip hop ish for NBC. So he calls him Tariq.
I mean, last night they had Kool Keith on. It's like they always have a guest. It's like they don't really need Black Thought. I don't know. Like one thing is to have your house band, but to have a.
I hear what you're saying, but how can you cut out the lead MC of the Roots if you're going to sign this contract with Jimmy Fallon? If you're going to,
because Black Thought has said before he is the Roots. The Roots is the band. Like, band is Questlove and everyone else.
Well, Black Thought is just as much the Roots as they are, though.
I know, but
I see what you're
you
saying.
said
It's a weird thing to have one of the best MCs ever in hip hop as a kind of side gig to a late night television.
I don't know if they do that on purpose, but on the show, like when they have a musical guest and it's someone who's not from hip hop, they're like, okay, so and so backed by the Roots. Okay, like the band is the Roots, like Black Thought.
But whenever they fade to a commercial, or whatever, Black Thought's spitting like some freestyle shit or whatever.
But it's not.
You know, he is kind of useless.
It's useless. I mean,
it's useless to his talent.
Yeah, right.
If you're looking at his ability and how good he is compared to what he's doing on there, But then you got to factor in his paycheck, bro. He's making fucking
he's feeding his family, man, lucratively.
Yeah. Late night.
I ain't mad at him.
Late night show with Jimmy Fallon is like one of the most popular shows on television. So
and that gives him more fans.
Right. Yeah. So he's happy. Why shouldn't we be for him? Basically.
Yeah, I guess.
But all right, where were we? We're on the albums, and I said Roots. Do you want more? So somebody else is on 5 now.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go. Well, no. I you finished.
Oh yeah, I think I started.
Finish your joint off.
Yeah, I mean my 5 was Liquid Swords. Do you want me to go to my 4?
Yeah, you can start it off.
Alright, this one's underrated, and I think Ohpenmind knows how much about this album. Brothers Under Madness.
Whoa. I don't know what that is.
This is an album. Wow. It's West Coast. It's underground. And it got played on my cassette player almost every other day. Like, I played the tape out. I wore it out. Brothers Under Madness, Life and Time is my number 4, and if you haven't heard it yet, you will love it.
I gotta Google that.
You will love it. It's. I really can't even. I mean, I wish Ohpenmind get back here. but no, it's. I mean, people are gonna be like, "Oh, you put that in front of Liquid Swords," and for me, I listened to it more in 1995 than I did Liquid Swords. Only because I had it, and only because it was so cheap, because no one else bought it. I bought it because I had like $5.
That's another thing.
But I played it, and I listened to it, and I loved it. Singer, my number 4 was The Bums. Life and Time.
Shit.
He doesn't know what it is. So
you don't know that?
Nah, I gotta Google that.
Oh man, yeah.
All right, well, that's what this podcast is for. We educate each other.
Exactly.
The Bums. Okay, so let me just speak on that for a second.
Yes. Because no one knows it.
Bums is Brothers Under Madness crew, and they're from Oakland, California. And my roommate, Bonte Hill, who's a sports writer for KMBR, and he covers the Warriors and the Niners and the Raiders. And his brother-in-law is a member. His brother-in-law's brother is a member of Bums, the Brothers Under Madness crew. And that was,
I'm drawing back on MCs.
And I'm drawing back on the name of the MCs right now. But he was in the Bums. But basically, that crew was slept on in the Bay Area, all over, more in the Bay Area, I guess they were popular.
Everywhere,
but
yeah.
Bums were dope. And that album is very much like...
Two Little Puts, similar to them?
To who?
No.
People on the Stairs?
No.
Different than them.
Nah,
they were
very
put
different.
On, they were put on from Sway and Tech.
Mm-hmm.
They got in through being on the radio. I think one of them was a radio DJ. And they got picked up, and I mean, they were on Priority Records. I mean, they were...
E-Vocalist. That's what I'm thinking. E-Vocalist.
Okay.
And...
God, who's the other?
Eval. Yeah, Eval.
Now it's being dropped today.
Yeah, so Bums, if you don't know about them, it's a good thing to go back and listen to that album. You know the name of the record?
Yeah, it's Life and Time.
Life and Time. Life and Time by the Bums. B.U.M.S. And it's a slept-on record, man. It really is, because that's honestly a record you can listen to from
start to finish,
from back to front.
Okay.
And it's dope. I mean, they also have like harmony on there, and it's kind of like
bit of reggae.
Yeah, it's kind of like they have a little bit of R&B or kind of like a smooth flow to it, where it's not all hip hop, where it's like you can get down with the chorus, where it's a nice flow.
Okay,
so
let's move this along, man. Just so we still got some picks left, but So my next album for me, my number 4.
Yeah, number 4.
I got to go with Me Against the World, Tupac. I'm a huge Tupac fan, and I feel like this is probably his most balanced album. So like, when he signs to Death Row and All Eyes on Me and all that stuff drops, he becomes like a pop icon basically.
Yeah.
And to me, he got known for the wrong reasons at that point. But Me Against the World is such a balanced, such a well-crafted album. I mean, he was just doing stuff that was way beyond what the criteria of a rapper was at that point. Songs like Dear Mama, If I Die Tonight, Definitely on the Corner, Shed So Many Tears. I mean, to this day, it's the only song I've ever cried over. Like, when I hear "Dear Mama," like that made me cry. That made, as a grown man, made me actually cry. And it related to me and my mom. Like not my mom wasn't struggling with drugs like Tupac's depiction in his song, but I had issues with my mother growing up. And it just like takes me back. It's like when hip hop is like it's all fun and you listening to beats and rhymes, and it's like certain stuff that pierces you and it takes you even out of that level.
Yeah.
On like a humanity level, like you were saying, like Tupac was just undeniable. Like, you couldn't ignore it.
Yeah. See, I mean, you said that song made you cry, but for me, when I heard that, honestly, it was so emotional. I didn't even want to touch it. Yeah. Because I was like, that's something I'm not ready for. Yeah. I can't exactly relate to it. But like I remember hearing it, it definitely made me feel something I didn't want to feel at that time. Like that was just over my head, and I was just like, "Wow!" Like, okay, I'm gonna skip this song. I'll turn it back on Wu-Tang Zone.
Right. It was like a different elevation and consciousness with Tupac. Make Us World, great album.
Yeah, great.
That's
album.
my number 4.
Dope. Is it on the me for number 3 or number 4?
I think it's you number 4.
4, okay. So I had a real tough time deciding on number 4 between 2 different albums, but I ended up going with the Far Side Lab Cabin California. We already discussed that album.
Right.
I will say that it's my favorite Far Side album. I like it better than Bizarre Ride to the Far Side.
Hold on, say we're calling giving Armand a second right back. Hey, bro, you missed a good one.
Yeah,
I know I am, man. Sorry, fellas, man. I slipped my mind. I had to take the little nephews out to the movies, and I saw the text message. I was like,
Good. I mean, well, right now we're in the middle of the end. Actually, we're doing the top 5 albums. We'd like to hear.
All right. Well, let's just rewind what we did. So
yeah,
we'll do our albums, Joe, and then you can give your albums.
all right.
Okay. So my 5th was Lab Cabin, California, Far Side. My 4th was Me Against the World, and Shift.
Shift. I got Liquid Swords,
Jezza,
and Life and Time by Brothers Under Madness.
and Sing.
And my number 4 is the Far Side Lab Cabin California.
And your 5.
Yeah, we interrupted.
And my number 5 was Do You Want More by The Roots.
The Roots. All right, so he's doing his number 3 right now. So if you just want to hang in with us, you know what I mean, and then we'll get to you.
You already know.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
All right, so number 4, we've already talked a little bit about Lab Cabin California by the Far Side. It's my favorite Far Side album. You had production from Jay Dilla on that record. You had the Far Side at their finest, I feel. If you look at their entire catalog and you want to pinpoint one album that's their best, I don't think it's a question. I think Lab Cab is their best album. And that's an album you can play from start to finish. Again, you can just let that record ride. And it's a West Coast feel to it, and it's a laid back vibe where you can just be on a sunny day, fucking driving to the beach and play that album. You can kick back to that shit and just enjoy it, and it makes you feel good. It's an album that just puts a smile on your fucking face.
Well, I mean, from the jump, that album starts off with some bullshit. It's pretty much. Their whole image changed with that album because, they came out from the Bizarre Ride on a roller coaster being cartoons to coming out as men dressed in suits on an album cover with a concept album produced by someone who wasn't from the West Coast. And it was very dark, honestly. If you look back at some of those tracks, it's just a more dark version of them. And they really didn't return to it either. No. After that album, they kind of went back to their roots. But, yeah, it's my favorite Far Side album, too.
Yeah, Dilla added perfectly to the mix, and he gave them what they were missing. And yeah, that's a great album. So
we're at 3 for the beginning.
Yeah. So Armand, you want to give your 5 and 4, and then we'll all just do our 3 all together.
Yeah, I could give you. When reviewing this joint, this was like, it's crazy that how good it was. I forgot
Oh man, 95 was bananas.
How good the albums was. But my number 5, just because of my older brother, was